Why is your success making you feel like shit? Money alone will not make you happy, especially if you don't avoid this one trap that everybody falls into. Over these next few minutes, I'm going to show you how to avoid this trap and also give you 3 habits that you can implement to make sure you not only be successful, but you feel successful too. Some of the most financially successful people I know feel more anxious now than they did before they had money. Now, it's not because they've suddenly got bad with using all this new money. It's actually because their income increased faster than their identity. And when that happens, you can fall victim to self-sabotage. So this is how it generally goes. People think that success is going to be linear. They feel like their money is going to increase as well as their happiness. Now, that does happen to a point, actually probably around here. Now, at this stage, something very interesting happens because people expect that because their money is increasing and their finances are holding them up, i.e. their bank balance is the number that's going up on the screen so they can see that increasing, that's the thing that's holding it strong. They expect that their happiness will do the same. That's not the case. In fact, what happens is if you haven't increased your identity at the same rate that you have your money, this is what happens. There's no strong foundation in place to hold this up. In fact, without a strong foundation, what you actually get there is doubt. You've got extra responsibility. You've got fear. You've got stress. You've got all these extra things that are now worrying you way more than you ever did before you had money. So even though people look successful on the outside, they don't feel it on the inside. They feel way worse. And that's this gap that's created that no one talks about. But this is the gap where self-sabotage can come into play. So this is what creates the identity gap. So the identity gap is really simple. It's when your external success, so your income, your bank balance, the lifestyle you're leading, outgrows your internal feeling of success. How you're feeling on the inside. Now, this creates this gap right here. This is the identity gap. So this will get filled with feelings like you've got more money, but you've got more anxiety. It will be filled with things like you feel like you're not the person that everybody thinks you are. You're not this big success, this big shot that everybody keeps telling you should be so proud of yourself. You don't feel like that on the inside. It will also be you keep moving the goalposts of what success is supposed to look like, so you never actually achieve what you want, or you never at least feel proud of yourself. So if these problems are happening, how do you fix that? I think of identity as the outcome of your actions. If you don't change your actions, your identity will never change too. So, for example, your old habits, the old things you do every single day, if you continue to do them, you will maintain your old identity. You've heard the old phrase, if nothing changes, nothing changes. Well, this is exactly true here. So if your habits and your actions day to day stay the same, no matter how big you're thinking, no matter what's happening in your bank balance, or if your business is suddenly successful, or you've got a pay rise at work, doesn't matter. If your actual actions every day stay the same, you'll never change how you feel about yourself. The next one is when you have your old habits, and this is where the danger actually comes in, your old habits plus, let's add into this your new wealth, so the extra money coming in, this actually equals conflict. This is exactly what we were talking about at the top up here. When your income is increased, but your internal identity has not. So this creates this gap, this conflict, where you have that internal, maybe it's a bit of an anxious feeling. Maybe it's you don't really feel like you believe you deserve all of this. A bit of an imposter syndrome, as people usually label it. That creates that internal conflict. And it can actually only really lead to one thing here if you don't solve this. And this is why it's the trap that everybody falls into. Most people get stuck here because they actually don't know how to get out of it. And when you've got this internal conflict, unfortunately, what it leads to, conflict leads to sabotage. Self-sabotage. You've seen it so many times. People have made money, lost lots of money. Made money, lost lots of money. And it's a continuous cycle for a lot of people because they never heal this identity side of things. Okay, you can be good at making money, but if you never believe you deserve it, you will find a way to get rid of it. So you've heard of people that have made really silly, maybe investment decisions. Maybe they've got with a partner who was clearly the wrong person for them and was maybe there for their money and it ends badly and they lose it all. Like, you could blame the partner for that, but really, you've attracted them. Yeah, if you didn't believe you deserved that, then you'll find a way to get rid of it. That's actually how the brain works. The brain likes to keep you safe. Your subconscious wants to keep you safe and in your comfort zone. Well, if it doesn't feel like you deserve what you've got, it's going to find a way to get rid of it and get you back to where you feel comfortable. So that's why this is so important to learn how to actually fix this. So what are the habits that are going to help you close this gap? I'm about to give you my 3-step framework for closing the identity gap. So, the first step, the first stage here is awareness. This is you taking a look at yourself and saying, look, I'm really happy that I'm growing financially, but the rest of my life is not growing in line with it. I'm not acting in the way that I know I should be, or somebody at this level would be acting. I'm not doing the things that I know are going to benefit me, and therefore are probably going to hurt me. So with this one, the habit that I would put into play is a little check-in with yourself at the end of the day. Like, am I acting like the person I am deserves? Am I acting in a way that this person I've become should be acting? Have that little check-in with yourself, because it will highlight the areas where you think, do you know what? I'm not doing the right things here. Now, it might be something simple. Maybe you're saying, right, well, my income's increased, so I know I've got more responsibility now to my family. I need to make sure I spend more time with them as well to make sure that I'm not just working all the time. Well, if your habits aren't showing that, or your actions aren't showing that, and you're spending less and less time with them, then there's a bit of a gap there, right? If you're doing this because you want to protect your family and provide for your family, which I'm sure a lot of you do, then you've also got to make time for the family as well, right? I mean, awareness is a huge part of this, probably one of the key cornerstones, because that self-awareness is everything. Now, if you're watching this video, you're probably already self-aware, so well done there. You've made the first steps. But this is about making sure that you're aware of exactly where the gap is being created so that you can do something about it. The second stage is audit. This is the second point of this framework. Now, audit is looking at your beliefs and behaviours of old that you currently don't want to be bringing forwards with you. So, for you, some beliefs you had might be, I'm not somebody who deserves a lot of money. Maybe when you were growing up, your family didn't have much. So you've always had that mindset of, well, I've got to work harder and harder and harder to keep making that money, because if I don't, I'll lose it. Or that belief can get you started and give you that little bit of fire you might have needed, but that same belief won't serve you once you've got more money, right? If you always keep thinking you've got to keep running on that wheel, keep pushing harder and harder and harder, that's not going to be the way to maintain it and create the life you really want. So what beliefs have you got that are not going to serve you moving forwards as well? So I would say the biggest one you can look for is, where else am I playing small? Where else am I thinking like the old me used to think? Am I stressing about the small things? Am I spending too much time worrying about things that, to be honest, don't really matter now? You've got to identify it. Where am I still playing small? And that's the question I would ask myself in every area. Is it to do with your money? Is it to do with your health, your fitness? Is it to do with your family, your loved ones, spending time with your friends? Where are you still playing small? Where have you not grown your mindset to match this new level of success that you're achieving elsewhere in your life? So where else am I still playing small is the question. And then the third step here, the third habit we need to build is act. Awareness, audit, act. So this is the stage where you say, right, well, now that I am at this new level of success, what does this version of me look like? What actions do I take? Because as I said, you can be as positive thinking as you like, you can meditate, you can, read your affirmations every morning and whatever, but your actions are actually the only thing that matters. Because you can do all those really positive things that everybody thinks is great and, manifest, but if your actions don't change, your results won't change. Whereas, even if you've not got the most positive mindset in the world, you're still worrying about some little bits, but your actions do change and you're doing positive actions, you will get positive results. So the action is really the main thing here. So act is such a key stage in this little framework. So how does act look like for you? So it could be, how does this new version of me make decisions? Is it, I only think logically, I don't have all the emotional things that I used to worry about. I don't have the fear that I used to have. I just think factually. Is this a good idea or is this a bad idea? Is this going to get me closer to my goals or further from my goals? Is that how you want to make decisions now as this new version of you? That will be one of them. It's how you make decisions is a good one. How do you use your time? Are you somebody who procrastinates loads, drags their heels, takes ages to get out of bed, really needs a big push to get to the gym in the morning? Or are you somebody who uses their time really efficiently? Are you somebody who says, look, I value my time. I've made this money now, so I know how valuable my time is worth. So I need to make sure that I'm spending it very wisely and valuing it and protecting it from others as well. That's quite a key thing. As your success increases, more people are going to want more pieces of your time. So you actually have to protect that even harder than before. Something to watch out for sure. And then probably a third key one of these to finish on would be, how do you handle uncertainty? How are you going to make sure that when times get a little bit tough or a bit scary, because now you've got this extra responsibility, how do you behave? Do you recoil and go back into your old self where, maybe you didn't really know how to handle situations and you just got through things as they happened? Or are you this new confident version of you where, yeah, I know there's uncertainty there, but I'm just going to keep moving forwards because this is the person I am now? That's a decision you have to make too. So this is where ACT comes into play. How are you going to act in all of these situations? And so there you have it. You don't become the next version of yourself just by thinking about it. You become that person by doing. And when you close that identity gap, wealth feels safe. Not because you have more money, it's because you trust who you are with it. That is just one small piece of the puzzle, because now you know how to close that identity gap and trust yourself and feel confident with the money. The next stage is about how to use the money to create a life of freedom. So I'm looking forward to helping you build all this success in your life. So stick around and we'll build a life that you're proud of.